Hey, I'm Kelly. If you love cars as much as I do, you're in the right place. From drifting car days to uncovering the world's most iconic rides. Gear up and subscribe to Drive with Kelly for non-stop car fun. Today, we're diving into something that could seriously shake up the off-road world, the 2027 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon X. Now, if you've been paying attention to what Jeep has been doing recently, especially with the Wrangler lineup, you already know they're not just maintaining this platform anymore. They're evolving it. And the Rubicon X sits right at the top of that evolution. This is where Jeep takes everything the Wrangler is known for, the raw capability, the off-road hardware, the open-air design, and pushes it into a more refined, more complete package. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly what the 2027 Rubicon X is expected to bring, what's changing, what's staying, and why this might end up being one of the most important Wranglers Jeep has built in years. Because right now, Jeep is trying to do something very difficult. They're trying to make the Wrangler more advanced without losing what made it special in the first place. And if they get that balance right, this thing is going to be very hard to beat. Let's get into it. Exterior. Starting with the exterior. And if you're expecting Jeep to completely redesign the Jeep Wrangler for 2027, that's not happening. That's never been the Wrangler strategy. This vehicle is built on identity. The boxy shape, the upright stance, the exposed hinges, all of that is intentional. It's not outdated. It's part of what makes it what it is. So for 2027, what you're really looking at is refinement. Slightly sharper LED lighting, maybe a more modern lighting signature, subtle grille adjustments, and definitely new color options because Jeep always rotates those. But overall, the design stays familiar, and that's exactly what buyers want. Now, where things start to get more serious is the wheel and tire setup. The Rubicon X is expected to continue coming with 35-inch all-terrain tires straight from the factory. And that immediately puts it in a different category from most SUVs. Because with most vehicles, you're modifying them to get to that level. With this, you're starting there. That wider stance, that extra sidewall, that added grip, it all translates directly into real-world off-road performance. And the wheels themselves are likely going to stay beadlock capable, which means if you actually take this thing off-road and air down your tires, you're getting maximum traction without compromising stability. That's not just for looks, that's real functionality. Moving up from there, the bumpers. The 2027 Rubicon X is almost guaranteed to keep full steel front and rear bumpers, and this is one of the biggest differences between a Wrangler and most modern SUVs. These are built to take hits. Rocks, ledges, uneven terrain, this is where cheaper plastic bumpers fail. Up front, you're still going to see integrated fog lights, those signature red tow hooks, and removable end caps. And those removable sections are not just a gimmick. They improve your approach angle, which means when you're climbing over something steep, your tires make contact first, instead of your bumper getting in the way. And just like current models, Jeep is expected to keep the front end winch ready from the factory. So if you ever get stuck, you're not relying on luck. You've got a proper recovery setup ready to go. Now, moving along the sides, rock sliders. This is one of those features that people underestimate until they actually need it. Rock sliders protect the lower sides of the vehicle, but more importantly, they allow you to use the Jeep the way it's meant to be used. You can literally rest the weight of the vehicle on them, pivot around obstacles, and keep moving. Without them, you're risking real damage. And then underneath, this is where the Wrangler really earns its reputation. The 2027 Rubicon X is expected to continue with Dana 44 front and rear axles. Stronger housings, thicker components, and built to handle serious abuse. Pair that with locking differentials and an electronic sway bar disconnect, and you've got a setup that allows each wheel to work independently when it needs to, giving you traction in situations where most vehicles would just spin and stop. And then finally, the feature that defines everything. The open-air design. Removable doors, removable roof, and likely even more refined quick-release systems for 2027. Jeep has already started simplifying this process, and it's only going to get easier. And that's something no competitor truly replicates. Interior. Now this is where things have been changing the most. Because Jeep understands something now that it didn't fully focus on before. People still want capability, but they also want comfort. They want something they can take off-road on the weekend, but still drive every single day without feeling like they're compromising. So the 2027 Rubicon X is expected to push further into that premium space. Starting with the seats. Expect high-quality leather, likely Nappa leather, with improved cushioning and support compared to older Wranglers. Jeep has already started offering 12-way power-adjustable seats, and that's probably staying. And yes, it's still going to feel like a Wrangler, but it's no longer going to feel like something you tolerate on long drives. It's something you can actually live with. Now moving to the center of the dashboard. The large infotainment screen is expected to stay, likely around that 12-inch range or slightly larger. And Jeep has already improved this system a lot in recent models. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, off-road trail mapping, vehicle data, all of that is integrated into one place. And what's interesting is that Jeep is not turning this into a fully digital, overly complicated system. They're still keeping physical controls for climate, drive modes, and key functions. And that matters, especially when you're off-road, wearing gloves, or dealing with rough conditions. The dashboard itself is still going to be rugged. Flat surfaces, grab handles, rubberized materials, everything designed with the idea that this vehicle will get dirty, wet, and used. And speaking of that, the drain plugs in the floor are expected to stay. It sounds simple, but it's one of the smartest features in the Wrangler. Water gets in, you pull the plugs, it drains out. No stress, no damage, no panic. And then, of course, the removable doors and roof from the inside perspective. This is what makes the driving experience completely different. You're not sitting inside a sealed box. You're part of the environment. And that's something that never gets old. Performance and engine. Now let's talk about where things could really start to shift the powertrain. Right now, Jeep already offers multiple engine options in the Wrangler lineup. The 3.6-liter V6, the 2-liter turbo, and most importantly, the hybrid system. And this is where the 2027 model is expected to lean even harder. The hybrid setup is likely going to play a much bigger role, not because Jeep wants to replace gas engines completely, but because it actually improves off-road performance. Electric torque is instant. There's no delay, no waiting for power to build. That matters when you're climbing, crawling, or navigating tight terrain. So don't be surprised if the hybrid version becomes one of the most desirable options in the lineup. At the same time, traditional engines are still expected to stay. The V6 is likely to remain because a lot of buyers still prefer that simple, predictable power delivery. And transmission-wise, expect the 8-speed automatic to continue, possibly with refinements, and maybe even a manual option depending on how long Jeep keeps that alive. Overall, the focus is not just power, it's control. And that's what matters most off-road. Driving experience. Now, when it comes to how this thing is actually going to feel on the road and off the road, you already have a good idea if you've ever driven a Wrangler. It's not trying to be the smoothest, most comfortable SUV on the highway. It's built around capability first. So expect that classic solid axle feel, a little bit of play in the steering, and a driving experience that feels more mechanical than most modern vehicles. But Jeep has been improving this. Steering is getting tighter, ride quality is getting better, and noise insulation is improving. So for 2027, expect it to feel more refined, but still very much like a Wrangler. Off-road though, this is where it shines. This is where everything comes together. The suspension, the tires, the locking differentials, the articulation, this is where the Rubicon X just walks through terrain that stops other vehicles completely. Pricing. Now let's talk about price. If Jeep follows its current structure, the 2027 Rubicon X is likely going to sit somewhere in the low to mid $60,000 range for the 4-door version. And yes, that sounds like a lot. But when you look at what you're getting factory 35, full off-road hardware, premium interior, advanced tech, it starts to make more sense. And Jeep will always give you options to push that price even higher with accessories and upgrades. Why people buy Wranglers? At the end of the day, this isn't just about specs. People don't buy Wranglers because they're the most logical choice. They buy them because of how they feel. It's the open-air driving. It's the off-road capability. It's the community. It's the fact that you can build it into whatever you want. And the 2027 Rubicon X is expected to keep all of that, while making it easier to live with every day. So here's the real question. If Jeep keeps refining this platform the way they have been, and if they continue pushing that balance between capability and comfort, is the 2027 Rubicon X going to be the best Wrangler yet? Or does adding more tech and refinement take away from what made it special in the first place? Let me know what you think. Would you take this over something like a Bronco? Or are you sticking with Jeep no matter what? Drop your answer in the comments, I want to hear it. And if this breakdown changed the way you look at where trucks are headed, get a sneak peek at Toyota Hilux Champ, which has now popped up on the upper left of your screen. Subscribe to Drive with Kelly, and I will see you in the next one.